So it's happy birthday AMG. We're here at Silverstone to celebrate 50 years in business for the small, independent tuning firm that developed into the performance arm of Mercedes-Benz. So it was in 1967 that small private company AMG started, and it really was all about tuning engines. This car, the Red Pig, was very significant in 1971, winning class at the Nürburg 24 hours and second overall, which was a remarkable story for such a big, heavy car. But then it did have this amazing AMG V8 under the hood. And driving this car, you know, you can't believe how much power it's got. It still feels really good. I mean, you've got huge tires on the front, the turn-in's fantastic, and it still feels really good, even now, for a car that's almost 50 years old. It still gets around the track and hustles, and the top speed's pretty impressive. So this is where it all started for AMG. Back in '71, this car was entered into the Nürburg 24 hours, and then unbelievably came second overall and first in class, and that's amazing for a car this size. 6.3 huge displacement engine and a big, heavy four-door car. But this was AMG's calling card, and this is where it all started, the Red Pig. And you know what, this car, for nearly 50 years old, feels pretty good. It's got this huge V8, 6.3-litre engine, and it's 6.8 in its original form. And you know what, it's going well. It doesn't lean too much into the corners, and we can get a fair bit of speed going down the straight here. And you really do feel like you're driving a piece of history in this car. It's an incredible feeling. Bags of power, big V8, and it's a heavy car, but you know, it doesn't feel too bad at all. The brakes are pretty good, and it really turns in. The balance is nice. The steering's obviously this big old steering wheel, but it feels good. And you know, you get a real sense of the car and where it is on the track. I still take my hat off to those guys driving 24 hours in this thing though. That must have been quite hard work. Obviously, with it being a over 6-litre V8 car, this thing doesn't rev wildly high, but it feels like you got the power and you can just pour it on as you come out the corner. Of course, we're driving a bit of racing history here. This is maybe when AMG realised it had something with this car, something that could sell and develop and make these racing AMGs and make these Mercedes a little bit quicker than when they came out of the factory. 230 kilometers at the hangar there. That's not too shabby for an almost 50-year-old car. And you know, you feel pretty safe. You know what's going on. Lots of feedback through the steering wheel. And that big old lazy engine just revving away. It feels a lot more nimble than I thought, did you?
Yeah, it is.
Goes a little bit better than mine, that's for sure. Revelation, that, in terms of handling. Yeah. Maybe I could do 24 hours of this.
Hard work.
Yeah. Actually, I take it all back. 24 hours to be comfortable in this thing. It's lovely. I thought we'd be hanging on for dear life. Well, I had to say that was an absolute pleasure driving that old girl around Silverstone. Still got plenty in her to go. Really, really good fun. And But nice to think this is where it all began 50 years ago with AMG. So next stop in our AMG adventure is 1987. We've gone back to 1987, 20 years before the launch of the C63. But this was really what AMG were all about and what they became quite famous for, the super saloons, really giving that power to an everyday four-door saloon. And this was the very well-known, very critically acclaimed 190, but instead of the normal six-cylinder or the four-pot that the Cosworth had, this is the AMG 3.2 litre straight six. And you know, compared to some of the other cars today, it will feel a little bit boaty, but you know, this car at the time was such a powerful car and such an important car. And although not quite quick by today's standards, it still has that power and that lovely straight six engine. And you've got the little touches like the AMG on the Speedo that lets you know what this car is all about and the bespoke nature of it. It's got those lovely 16-inch alloy wheels and the little cues that give it away to being that little bit special, that little bit of a Q car. And again, it was what AMG did best back in the day, was those sleeper cars, that wolf in sheep's clothing, that you didn't quite know what it was till you got up alongside it, or maybe it overtook you in the fast lane. So as you see the GTR fly past me there around the track, you're reminded that this is a car that is a little bit older than that, but it still feels like a lot of fun, and you realize you're driving quite a big part of AMG's history and what really put it on the map. And remember, this car was made when AMG was still a private company, and arguably it was cars like this that caught the eye of Mercedes-Benz and made them ultimately decide to choose to buy it and take ownership of the company and stick that badge, which was a private badge, on the back of their production cars and sell them in the showrooms. So maybe not quite as quick around Silverstone as a GTR, but definitely as much fun in this big old beast of an AMG. Big steering wheel, quite slow geared, but lots and lots of fun, and you still get a sense of that excitement that people must have found when they jumped in this car all those years ago. Lots of fun. And then we move on to 2000s and cars like this, really a full-on in-house AMG model. This was a homologation special, one of only 100 road cars built for the homologation of the DTM racer that Bernd Schneider won the championship of in 2004. Driving this car is still a remarkably fast car for a car that's 13 years old. 3.9 seconds, 0 to 60, 199 mile an hour top speed. It still feels very modern, and the look of this car, you get less of the subtlety of this sleeper. You know this car's fast when you look at it with the flared arches and those sort of angular AMG special touches. So what's really interesting about this car is how smooth the power delivery is. This is essentially a homologation race car, but the power delivery is so smooth and you just almost don't sense the speed, certainly with the helmet on. It's very quiet in the car, but the revs just pour on. And this thing, you only have to look at the speedo until you realize quite how fast you're going. A seriously quick car, especially for its time. And it still feels pretty sharp now. You get in this thing and, oh, just really enjoyable. Really enjoyable. It doesn't take long to get to grips quite quickly with the speed. But it still feels pin sharp. What I love about this car is this DTM style steering wheel and everything. It just feels great. And that sort of quite basic styling is nice about it, isn't it? And of course, when this car came out in 2004, it was absolutely state of the art, as it had to be. DTM has always been at the cutting edge, and Mercedes, to win the championship, had to have obviously a good driver with the likes of Bernd Schneider, but a car that could take on the other guys and all the sort of technology that AMG could muster. And this big V8 is just glorious, absolutely glorious. And by 2005, Mercedes-Benz had took full ownership of AMG, bringing it in-house in complete control, and really making it the halo of their brands. The top car in each of the sectors is the AMG model. And this one is almost bespoke AMG product, the GT or GTR as this model is. So this is the latest AMG, the 2017 GTR. Obviously a smaller engine than we used to in AMGs, only 4 litres, but a bi-turbo and still 585 horsepower. And I tell you what, this thing just revs and revs and revs. And the power delivery is just constant. It feels fantastic. And out here on the track at Silverstone, it's really in its element. And the weight distribution feels really good. And from the outside, it looks a little bit nose heavy, but the actual weight's much more towards the rear, and it feels really good fun. It still stays true to AMG's philosophy of a big horsepower car, but with this car, it's a lot more agile than maybe some of the big V12 brutes that used to come out of the factory. So there we have it, the 2017 GTR, right bang up to date where AMG are today, and what a wonderful car this is. So there we have it, 50 years of amazing cars from AMG. A remarkable story, and long may it continue.